There are three things that you must do in the fall in order to have a great garden next year. First, remove any dead or spent plant debris. Second, amend the soil as needed. And third, clean and store any plant supports and garden tools. That way they'll be ready to use early next spring. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Linda, and I'd like to welcome you to Veggy 360. But before we get started, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos. Now let's get into details for each of these tasks. Starting with remove dead or spent plant debris. This is especially critical for plants that are susceptible to soil-borne diseases like the tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, and squash. I suggest that you throw these away instead of composting them. I've had several people ask, why can't I compost? Well, unless you can guarantee that your compost bin gets hot enough to kill off any of the plant pathogens, then you're just running the risk of re-inoculating your garden next year. So my suggestion, play safe and throw it away. It's also critical to discard any plants that have any pests. For us, we have had a huge issue with asparagus beetles until I started cutting the asparagus off at the base and then just throwing the whole plant away. Once we started doing that, we noticed that the beetle pressure was a lot lower, more manageable. We also like to throw away any plants that have had thrips or leaf miner. That will control or reduce the pressure from those pests. I often get asked, should I remove the roots? Well, the answer is that depends. If you have any soil-borne pests in your garden like root knot nematodes, oh, those are a huge problem here in this area. If you have root knot nematodes, then I suggest you remove all of the roots, as many of the roots as you possibly can, because those nematodes will live in the root material over the winter, stay in the soil, and then you'll have a big problem again next year. So plants that are susceptible to root knot nematodes, pull the roots out as much as possible and then just discard them. These would include tomatoes, okra, beets, and squash. There's some other plants in that category, but for us, those are our big problem children. If your plants are healthy though, and there's no root knot nematode or soil-borne pests that are plaguing your plants, then by all means leave the roots in the soil. It will add organic matter as these roots break down over the winter. Second, amend the soil as needed. I would first, though, test the soil if you haven't done so in the last 3 to 4 years. This is the best way to find out if any of the key nutrients need to be added. This would be like your phosphorus, potassium, calcium, and magnesium, or if the pH needs to be adjusted. There's soil test kits that you can get from your local extension agent, or you can contact a master gardener in your area for help in learning how to test your soil. Soils can be depleted over time without proper amendments, but on the flip side, it can be a waste of money, especially now with the price of fertilizer through the roof. Adding too much also can be bad for the plants. You can get buildup of these key nutrients. Now is also the perfect time to add organic matter to the soil. This is the best way to improve the soil health. My favorite way of doing this is just adding compost, 1 to 3 inches of compost on top of the soil. I don't even work it in. I just put it on top of the soil and it gradually works its way down over the winter time. You can also cover the soil with dried leaves or dried grass clippings. This too will break down over the winter and add much needed organic matter to the soil. It will also help control the weeds during the late fall and into the spring. The third task is to clean and store your plant supports and garden tools. You want to remove any plant debris and soil from your plant trellises, tomato cages, or stakes, as well as any of your garden tools. by washing them with soap and water. If you have a lot of caked on soil though, I suggest either using a power wash for your trellises and tomato cages, or you could just use a stiff brush and scrub it off. Once these items are clean, you're going to want to disinfect them. You can use a 10% bleach solution for stakes, trellises, cages, and your larger hand tools like shovels, rakes, and hoes. However, any cutting edge, any tool that needs a sharp cutting edge, don't use this bleach solution because it can corrode the metal. Instead, I would recommend using alcohol to wipe it down. So those are your 3 tasks to do in the fall, whether you're growing year-round like I am, or putting your garden to bed for the fall. These 3 tasks will be critical for successful garden next year. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe so that you don't miss out on any future videos. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye now.